If you just started a small farm and you need to pay bills, what would you grow? Not what you like to eat, not what looks good on Instagram, not what sounds exciting when you talk about it. Because most beginners fail right here. They plant food they enjoy eating. Then they stand in the field months later wondering why the math doesn't work. The harvest comes in, the prices disappoint, the labor piles up, and suddenly the farm is draining money instead of producing it. This video will show you the crops that actually help a small farm grow, support your family, and add real stability instead of stress. Before we go any further, if you care about practical farming, low-risk crops, and building something that lasts, subscribe to Buried Nature Archive. This channel is for people who want farms that work, not hobbies that look good online and quietly bleed cash. Now, let's get into it. This channel exists for small farmers, beginners, and homesteaders who want profit without burnout. We focus on return per acre, labor efficiency, and risk control. Everything you'll hear today comes from experienced growers, real farms, and real numbers, not theory, not influencer advice. If I had just a couple of acres and needed my farm to start paying bills, these are the 3 crops I would build around, and then the forgotten plants I would add to protect that income. Let's start with the anchor crop. Crop number 1, strawberries, the cash anchor. Strawberries work almost everywhere. Demand is high, prices stay strong, and they sell fast. You can sell strawberries at farmers markets, roadside stands, direct to families, restaurants, or through pre-orders before the season even starts. That matters. You don't need complicated equipment, you don't need years of experience, and you don't need to educate customers. Everyone already knows what strawberries are and wants them. The key is choosing the right type. June-bearing strawberries produce all their fruit in a short, intense window. That's exactly what you want as a beginner. Predictable harvests, predictable income. You work hard for a few weeks, then harvesting is done for the year. That short harvest window also protects your sanity. During peak harvest, if your system is set up right, you're looking at roughly 2 to 3 hours of work a day. Outside of that window, strawberries are relatively low maintenance. Watering, fertilizing, runner management, and bed care make up most of the workload. Now here's the make or break factor. Weed control is non-negotiable. Strawberries without weed control will ruin you. Strawberries with weed mat and drip irrigation become manageable, forgiving, and profitable. Weed mat reduces labor dramatically. Drip irrigation keeps water where it belongs and lowers disease pressure. Fruit stays clean, plants stay healthy, labor stays predictable. Without these systems, strawberries become a nightmare. With them, they become one of the best beginner crops available. This is why strawberries forgive beginner mistakes better than most crops. They don't require a greenhouse, they don't demand perfect timing, they don't collapse overnight the way tomatoes can. On a quarter acre, roughly 6,000 plants is realistic. Startup costs vary, but even including plants, weed mat, drip lines, and fertilizer, the investment is manageable compared to most crops. Revenue potential on that same quarter acre can reach tens of thousands in a good year when managed correctly. This is why strawberries are a cash anchor crop. They teach discipline, systems, and harvest management while actually paying you. They don't just grow fruit, they train farmers. Crop number 2, garlic, the pressure release valve. The second crop I would add is garlic. Garlic is one of the most misunderstood money crops on small farms. You plant it in the fall, then winter does most of the work for you. There's no daily harvest grind, no constant monitoring, no panic. In spring, you clean up weeds, and by midsummer, you're harvesting. The biggest advantage of garlic is time. Garlic stores for 4 to 6 months depending on the variety and conditions. That means you are not forced to sell immediately. You can test markets, build relationships, and wait for better prices, and spread income across the year. That flexibility matters more than beginners realize. Garlic has low pest pressure, scales well, and holds high value per pound. It also doesn't demand daily attention. This makes it perfect for beginners who are still learning systems. Hardneck garlic varieties produce scapes in early summer. Those scapes are an extra income stream that comes before the main harvest. Softneck garlic stores longer and works well for bulk sales. Garlic gives your farm breathing room. It spreads income across the season and reduces pressure. That reduction in pressure is often the difference between quitting and continuing. Crop number 3, asparagus, the long game. The third core crop is asparagus. Asparagus teaches patience, and patience is what keeps farms alive long term. Asparagus takes 2 to 3 years to establish. Many beginners avoid it because it doesn't pay immediately. That's a mistake. Once established, asparagus produces for 15 to 20 years with minimal maintenance. Harvest lasts about 6 weeks in spring. Outside of that window, you're mostly managing weeds and water. There's no daily harvest grind, no constant replanting, no reseeding every year. Asparagus provides early spring income before most annual crops are ready. It's predictable, it's reliable, and it becomes part of your farm's backbone. Not everything needs to pay you this year. Some crops pay you for decades. Now here's where most farming channels stop, and where real farms either fail or survive. You need forgotten and underused crops. These don't replace strawberries, garlic, or asparagus. They protect them. They stabilize income. They improve soil. And they give you options when something goes wrong. Let's start with perennial, low-input crops. Perennial backups, low risk, high stability. Rhubarb appears early in spring when people are desperate for fresh produce. Once established, it requires almost no care and produces year after year. Walking annuals replant themselves. They survive cold, drought, and neglect. You harvest greens, bulbs, and topsets. They're nearly indestructible. Sorrel thrives in cool weather and sells well to chefs in niche markets. It comes back every year and fills a gap most farms ignore. Jerusalem artichoke is almost impossible to kill. It produces massive yields of edible tubers and doubles as a windbreak. Once planted, it stays. Lovage tastes like celery, grows tall, and returns every year. It fills a niche market that most farms don't serve. These crops reduce dependency on perfect weather and perfect timing. Medicinal and specialty crops, small plots only. These are not field crops. They are high-value supplements. Echinacea has strong demand for roots and flowers. Calendula is easy to grow, fast to harvest, and used in teas, salves, and skincare. Chamomile is light, delicate, and valuable in small spaces. Yarrow is drought-resistant, medicinal, and improves soil health. Comfrey is priceless on a farm. It builds soil, feeds compost, and produces massive biomass. These crops don't replace food crops, they reinforce the system. Supporting plants, farm insurance. Buckwheat suppresses weeds and improves soil fast. Clover fixes nitrogen and acts as living mulch. Borage attracts pollinators and improves yields across the farm. These plants reduce risk, improve soil, and protect income. What not to grow? Beginner traps. Greenhouse tomatoes are one of the biggest beginner traps in farming. High skill, high stress, high disease risk, and expensive infrastructure. Avoid crops with short shelf life, low price per unit, and high labor per dollar. If it doesn't scale easily, skip it early. Build systems first, experiment later. Final takeaway. If you're starting small and need your farm to support your family, strawberries give fast cash. Garlic gives flexible income. Asparagus gives long-term security. Forgotten crops add resilience. This is how small farms survive, not by doing everything, but by doing the right things first. If this helped you, subscribe to Buried Nature Archive. Comment below with your acreage and climate, and in the next video, we'll talk about how to stack crops on 1 acre without burning out.